So there's a lot of people who say that healthy food is so expensive, and then they go and order some really expensive latte macchiatos or really expensive salads or something. I mean, if you want to eat a lot of vegetables and stuff, there are fruits who are we are able to digest, and you will get good nutrition from some fruits or beans. I'm generally against beans because a lot of beans are full of estrogenic compounds or compounds that will make so that your body produces more estrogen and stuff. And for you ladies out there, a lot of estrogen does not mean that you will look more feminine. Not necessarily. Because if you were to inject a lot of estrogen into a girl, she would become fat, she would probably get really nice tits if she got the genes for it, really big, but they will sag because eventually that estrogen will just build up and things will go to hell. Basically, you will get fat on everywhere and you will get moody and cranky like having PMS all the time. No, because women need progesterone, not progestin. Progestins are contraceptive toxins. They make that so that your body does not produce progesterone. You will need progesterone. You can buy it as a cream, but the ideal is that your ovaries make it. And that hormone, if you were to have a lot of that hormone, it would be slightly harder to grow breasts. But it would be really hard to gain fat as well, and you would have a very high metabolism, high metabolic rate, and you would have a lot more protection from various diseases and stuff. You would be strong. My guess here is that if you want to be able to have a high estrogen count, and don't just look at the blood, because the blood work does not always tell how much of the hormones you have, because when the hormone goes into the tissues, into the cells, you won't be able to measure them unless you do a biopsy or something like that and look at the actual tissues and not the transport system. So anyway, I'm not a fan of beans, and I'm not a fan of estrogenic things in general, because you get estrogen for freaking everywhere. I mean, you will get a boost of estrogen from getting sunburned. No, not a tan, burned. You will get estrogen from all sorts of nasty things. So, I mean, don't chase estrogen, because you will get it. Only things that will reduce your estrogen too much are prescription drugs, like, what's the name of that one? It slips my mind, but there are really powerful anti-estrogen compounds, so powerful in fact that they seem to inhibit cell division. So at that point, men and women will suffer from lack of estrogen, but you could probably substitute histamines for it, so it's not a huge problem. Anyway, so people go, oh, healthy food is expensive. Well, what do you think healthy foods are? What are healthy? What is healthy? Well, some vegans do seem to be healthy. However, there's basically just one vegan I trust, one vegan athlete who looks and sounds and seems really healthy, and that's Mike Mahler. And he states, and a lot of forums for vegans seem to state that a lot of vegans are talking out of their asses. They don't eat a vegan diet because they go off and eat a pound of cheese or eggs and think that, well, I'm still vegan because this is not tissue protein. This is, yes, but it's still animal proteins, or you are a vegetarian then. And I personally think that vegetarianism is doable. I mean, I don't think it's ideal. There might be people who do have that body that can do very well on a vegetarian diet, but in general, there's just not enough proof from it. And then you will go into the, oh no, don't eat meat because it's associated with this and this and this. Well, those studies, all the studies I have read on the bad things about meat have been about, you can just blame it on pesticides in the meat. So if you eat organic or you eat some animal that got a good detoxing system, you will be totally fine. Animals that got good detoxing systems are goats, sheep, and different buffaloes and cows and stuff. Animals that eat grass and herbs and have several stomachs and stuff. Horses don't. They don't seem to have this detoxifying system. And also, it's in the fat that most of the toxins will end up anyway, because most of the nasty agricultural toxins and poisons are fat soluble. They will go into the fat in the meat. So even if you buy some really filthy fucking meat, unless the animal has eaten a lot of heavy metals, lead, and maybe arsenic or mercury, or that type of toxins, those types, you won't get much toxins if you don't eat the fat. Well, then again, you want to eat some fat, so well, go for an animal who has a clean diet and a good detoxifying system. And then there's the fact that meat is very high in phosphorus. So if you have a diet that's very low in calcium and very high in phosphorus, your bones will go to shit. Will turn into something like crackers or something very porous and weak and stuff, and you will get fractures and calcified blood, because by the looks of it and all the studies I've read, everything that takes calcium from your bones, making them weaker, will make calcium end up in your blood vessels and calcify cells and stuff. So, healthy food is not expensive. No, it's not expensive at all. And bullshit. Today I found lamb liver, very nutritionally dense foods. A lot of nutrients you won't find in that high amount in any food, really. When it comes to vitamin A and that sort of stuff. And then I found lamb hearts. Lamb hearts. I mean, those things are really low price, and you will get a lot of good protein and amino acids you won't find in that high amounts in just simple muscle meat. I mean, you can make an excellent diet from some seafood every week to get some extra minerals and stuff, and then you can eat liver, some eggs, some good eggs. Don't eat too many, because a lot of nasty things seem to end up in the fat in the eggs if the hens got a bad diet. But then you can eat just dairy, and you can eat, well, organ meat and stuff. And the interesting thing about this is that when you look at all these nutritionally dense foods, you will find that, I mean, this is a traditional diet. This is the type of diet that my ancestors ate, unless you're a Hindu maybe. But in general, well, this is what humans eat and have eaten for millennia around most of the planet. Organ meats and dairy, if you were able to eat dairy. If you go into Eastern Asia and African stuff, some parts of Africa that don't have a history of milk drinking, people got their calcium from the marrow in the bones. So, well, organ meats, dairy and fruits and some vegetables and stuff, not a problem. Not expensive either. You will get more nutrition than if you were to able to eat grains and muscle meat. So I mean, what you end up with, following my advice here, is that you will end up with a something like a paleo diet that's not low carb and will have some dairy in it. So it's not expensive, not at all. If you do have a question or a good comment, maybe there's something I have missed about this, please comment or send a question or something. It's almost always interesting to discuss these things. Bye.